In recent months, rumors about Lewis Hamilton potentially leaving Ferrari in 2027 have been gaining momentum across the Formula One paddock. What once seemed like a perfect union between the greatest active champion and the sport's most iconic team now appears to be heading toward an early and disappointing ending. One marked by frustration, unmet expectations, and a growing sense of tension within Maranello. When Hamilton joined Ferrari, it was seen as a monumental event, a marriage of legacy and talent that promised to reignite the Scuderia's dominance. The man who had turned Mercedes into a winning machine was expected to do the same in red. But as the seasons unfolded, the dream began to fade, replaced by the harsh reality of a team still struggling to find its way. Hamilton arrived at Ferrari in 2025 with one clear goal: to win his 8th world title, and to do it wearing red, sealing his legendary career with the ultimate triumph for Formula One's most historic name. Yet, the results were disappointing from the start. The Ferrari was quick on Saturdays, but inconsistent on Sundays. Tire degradation, strategy errors, and mechanical failures became recurring themes. Hamilton, accustomed to precision and perfection from his Mercedes days, found himself increasingly frustrated with Ferrari's chaotic and bureaucratic structure. Although he tried to maintain a positive tone in interviews, his body language began to reveal what words could not. Tensions inside the team also started to surface. His relationship with Charles Leclerc, initially professional and respectful, began to cool. Leclerc, the beloved son of Maranello and the face of Ferrari's future, struggled to accept the arrival of a global superstar with more titles and influence. Their rivalry intensified with each race weekend. Team orders were ignored, radio exchanges grew sharper, and the competition for leadership within the team became fierce. While Leclerc sought to reaffirm himself as Ferrari's long-term hope, Hamilton was desperate to prove he was still the present, a champion who deserved a car capable of fighting for wins. Behind the scenes, things began to unravel midway through the 2026 season. Ferrari had promised a major aerodynamic upgrade that would change the course of their campaign. But once again, reality fell short. The new package failed to deliver, leaving the team behind McLaren and Red Bull. The highly anticipated hybrid power unit, meant to close the gap, struggled with efficiency and reliability. According to insiders, Hamilton's demeanor shifted. The calm, patient tone of the early months gave way to visible frustration. In debriefs, his feedback became more direct, sometimes harsh, as he demanded accountability and progress. While some engineers respected his drive for excellence, others began to feel the pressure. There were whispers that Hamilton's personality, a blend of ambition, intensity, and high standards, was clashing with Ferrari's traditional hierarchy. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur, once seen as the bridge between Hamilton and the Italian structure, found himself caught in the middle. By the end of the 2026 season, speculation about Hamilton's future was impossible to ignore. Some reports suggested that other teams were already monitoring the situation closely. Aston Martin was rumored to be one, eager to sign a global star to strengthen its brand alongside Fernando Alonso, or even as his successor. Others hinted at a potential Mercedes return, though Toto Wolff publicly denied any talks. Still, it's no secret that Wolff and Hamilton maintain a strong personal connection, and if Mercedes regains competitiveness with the new engine regulations, the idea of a reunion could become very real. But beyond the technical and contractual aspects, there's a deep emotional weight behind these rumors. Hamilton has often spoken about his childhood dream of driving for Ferrari. Leaving the team after just 2 full seasons would symbolize more than a failed partnership. It would be the end of a romantic dream. Yet Hamilton is also a realist. By 2027, he will be 42 years old. Every race without a win feels like a missed opportunity, and the idea of spending his final years trapped in mediocrity must be painful. The talk of building for the future, something he heard repeatedly from Ferrari management, now sounds hollow. Inside Maranello, the team appears divided. Some engineers insist that Hamilton's presence is essential, his experience, work ethic, and technical knowledge still invaluable to the team's growth. Others, however, believe that the partnership is no longer productive, arguing that Ferrari should focus its efforts on Leclerc and a new generation of drivers. In that context, an early separation, mutually agreed, is no longer unthinkable. Hamilton himself has remained publicly silent on the matter, which only fuels the speculation. In recent interviews, his tone has been notably restrained. He continues to speak about believing in the project, but avoids any direct comment on his long-term plans. Those close to him say the disappointment runs deep. He expected Ferrari to be chaotic, yes, but not directionless. He thought his arrival would trigger a cultural shift, yet the same bureaucratic inertia continues to plague the team. Decisions take too long, updates arrive late, and accountability is rare. For a driver built on discipline and efficiency, this is an endless source of frustration. The rumors reached new heights after the 2026 Italian Grand Prix, a race that turned into a nightmare for Ferrari. Hamilton was forced to retire due to a power unit failure while running in the top 5 at Monza, the team's home race. Furious, he left the circuit without speaking to the press, a rare breach of his usual composure. The images of him walking alone through the paddock, head down, said more than any statement could. From that moment on, the media narrative changed. The dream partnership became a marriage under pressure. Even Leclerc made subtle comments hinting that harmony inside the team had vanished. Now, as the 2027 season progresses, the picture looks worryingly familiar. The new Ferrari is more reliable, yes, but still lacks the outright pace to challenge Red Bull or McLaren. Hamilton continues to fight, extracting everything he can from the car, but the results are modest, occasional podiums, yet no victories. The once unthinkable reality of Hamilton ending his career without an 8th championship now looms closer than ever. And as new stars like Gabriel Bortolito and Oscar Piastri rise to prominence, the sense of time slipping away grows heavier. If Hamilton were to leave Ferrari in 2027, it would represent far more than the end of a contract. It would mark the closing of an emotional chapter in Formula One, a reminder that even the greatest champions cannot escape the constraints of imperfect machinery and fading opportunities. It would also expose the deeper truth about Ferrari, that its struggles are systemic, not circumstantial. The team has burned through generations of talented drivers, Alonso, Vettel, Leclerc, and now perhaps Hamilton, without fixing the core issues that hold it back. For Hamilton, such an ending would be bittersweet. He would have fulfilled the dream of driving for Ferrari, but without the fairy tale ending that both he and the fans envisioned. For Ferrari, it would be another story of what could have been, another chapter in its long saga of unfulfilled potential. And so, the question lingers. Will Lewis Hamilton walk away before his time in red truly runs out? No one knows for sure. But as the whispers grow louder and the smiles in Maranello grow thinner, one thing becomes clear. The love story between Hamilton and Ferrari may be approaching its final lapse. And when the checkered flag eventually falls, it may not be victory that defines it, but the quiet sadness of a dream that never came true.